Put this on your vision board, world. We love you.
I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Lady Gaga and Dylan Mulvaney do not care about the trans community, do not care about the LGBT community, and sure as hell do not care about women. So if you really care about women or the trans community or the LGBTQ community at large, why not just go ahead and chill out a minute, let your hormones settle, figure out where it is you are mentally, and then join back in public life and let people know what you've gone through and what the realities of your life are once you realize what the actual realities of your life are. Who knows? Maybe by the time the dust settles, you may actually be comfortable with what you are, which is a trans woman.
But I was so scared to take on that term, trans woman, and that was sort of the last piece for me.
And there's nothing wrong with being a trans woman, but stop trying to assign other titles to other people and tell other people what it is it takes to be what it is they are when you're just trying to learn how to be what it is they are. And when I say other people, I mean women. You are learning to emulate what it is to be a woman, and that's why I have a problem with even the little snippet that they posted.
I promise you, if you put your mind to it and you work hard and you never give up and you do not listen to the rejection, you can achieve anything that life throws your way.
It's not even true. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much rejection you face, you will never be the same as a woman that is born a woman. There will always be differences. And isn't that a part of trans pride? Is accepting that you are something different, that you are something other than what an actual woman is? Pride isn't pretending to be something that you're not. Pride isn't forcing people to accept you as something other than what the reality of what you are is. Pride is accepting yourself and saying everybody else can feel how they want to feel about it, but this is what I am, and yeah, it is something different from what you are, but I'm proud to be that, and I don't care if you accept it or not. And to me, that statement doesn't have to be made on International Women's Day, because women are just trying to have a little recognition, maybe a little peace and quiet on International Women's Day. Maybe they don't want to celebrate the LGBTQ community on International Women's Day. Maybe they're fine doing that for the entire month of June, and they don't feel like they should have to do it on the one day that they have. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just leave a knife. Because once again, the trans community is going to come for my neck. Oh, and I know I've been doing different content lately, and I'll continue to do different content because being a comedian is also a part of my life, but I felt like it was important for me to jump back in on this one, even though it took me a couple of days to do it. All right, so last Friday, which was International Women's Day, Dylan Mulvaney posted a picture of him with Lady Gaga on his Instagram and said Happy International Women's Day, which he knew, if you ask me, that women were not going to take kindly to that. There's no way that he didn't, because women are all over the internet saying that Dylan Mulvaney is not a part of the sisterhood. So when you know that that's the way a group feels about you, and then you still force yourself on the group or try to force yourself into being part of the group, you're going to get backlash.
Day 3 of being a girl, and I've already become a bimbo.
And this apparently was a still photo that was taken during a promo that they were shooting at an event for Lady Gaga's new cosmetics brand, which is called House. And let's just be honest, this had nothing to do with women. All it was about was trying to get some publicity. That's 100% what it was about. So I don't know why they're trying to turn it into something bigger or make it more of a cause than it is. But when it comes down to it, that ship has truly sailed. People being supportive of the trans community just for the sake of it is no longer a thing. LGBT and trans activists have asked for a level of encouragement that I don't think any other group has asked for, which I don't even buy into the marginalized communities thing anymore. We're all getting to pretty well equal footing if it weren't for activists getting in the way and people like Dylan Mulvaney, who I don't even consider to be an activist. I consider Dylan Mulvaney to be what's one of the biggest problems in the trans community right now, because he's trying to monetize a transition.
For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in my opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all.
And that's exactly what's going on. And I see it happen all the time where people just want to monetize their transition.
Oh, Dylan, this really is who you are.
It is not about being a service to your community.
Most of all, I want to make the trans community proud.
It really is about you wanting to make some extra money. Because if you really wanted to help the trans community, what you would do is you would figure out what's going on with you. Because if you don't know anything about transition, and this shouldn't be a controversial statement, is that during transition, you're basically going through another version of puberty. And we all know that when you're going through puberty, your hormones are so out of whack that you actually think that you know everything. Nobody can tell you anything. We all remember being teenagers. When you're a trans person that's just starting your transition, that is what you're going through. You have hormones running through you, and you've got to make that adjustment. So instead of being on TikTok, how about you sort yourself out if that's really what you are and not just a trans trender? Because I still am not fully convinced that Dylan Mulvaney has done this for anything other than financial gain. Because to me, Dylan Mulvaney just doesn't behave like a person that is really sincere about trying to transition into what they are. It's more of a costume.
Day one of being a girl,
Which is what women are offended by anyway, is that Dylan Mulvaney looks at being a woman as just a little fun thing to do. And if you actually pay attention to the things that he's done, he has not in any way helped out the actual trans community. I mean, if you're trying to fight transphobia, it should be more about building a bridge between yourself as a trans person and society at large than it should be about trying to make sure that you get certain endorsements. And trying to turn it into a trans issue isn't fair to the situation and isn't fair to women, because women aren't saying that they don't support the trans community. What women have been saying is they don't support Dylan Mulvaney. So you trying to turn it into a trans issue is just you being selfish and not wanting to accept that people are not down with what you're doing. It's what you're doing, you as an individual, and not the trans community. Maybe trans activists have your back, and that makes you feel like that's the trans community, but most everyday trans people aren't in line with what's going on with the trans activists right now. Most trans people really are trying to fly under the radar and be who it is they are without getting harassed. And Dylan Mulvaney has done more to inspire transphobia than any anti-trans person or legislation or outright bigot online. And so Lady Gaga put out a statement because she got so much backlash for posing in this picture with Dylan Mulvaney. And Lady Gaga took issue with the word backlash of all things, even though that's what it was. And I think the reason that she's trying to change it to being something other than backlash is because she realized that that was not smart for her brand. So to turn it into hatred instead is a better play. And that way she can deny any kind of responsibility or culpability for what she's doing that's going to affect the trans community negatively. So I'm going to go ahead and read her statement to you guys. It's appalling to me that a post about National Women's Day by Dylan Mulvaney and me would be met with such vitriol and hatred. When I see a newspaper reporting on hatred but calling it backlash, I feel it is important to clarify that hatred is hatred, and this kind of hatred is violence. Backlash would imply that people who love or respect Dylan and me didn't like something we did. This is not backlash. This is hatred. But it is not surprising given the immense work that it's obvious we still have to do as a society to make room for transgender lives to be cherished and upheld by all of us. I feel very protective in this moment, not only of Dylan, but the trans community who continues to lead the way with their endless grace and inspiration in the face of constant degradation, intolerance, and physical, verbal, and mental violence. I certainly do not speak for this community, but I have something to say. I hope all women will come together to honor us all for International Women's Day, and may we do that always until the day that all women are celebrated equally, that all people are celebrated equally. A day where people of all gender identities are celebrated on whichever holiday speaks to them, because people of all gender identities and races deserve peace and dignity. Okay, well, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, but I also understand when women women are like, can we not have anything anymore? We can't even have this one day without a man in a dress just deciding that that's now partly his. This statement could have been made on International Transgender Day of Visibility, which would be March 31st. It also could have been made on Trans Day of Remembrance, which would be November 20th. It also could have been made any time in June. The entire month of June is Pride Month. So if it was really just about trying to promote some sort of unity or give some visibility to trans people, then it could have been made on a day that wouldn't have gotten backlash and deserved backlash from women that are just tired of being stepped on by men. And that's why they did it on International Women's Day, because it wasn't about women and it wasn't about acceptance. It was about trying to get some buzz for Lady Gaga's brand. And that's why when it comes to people like Lady Gaga that consider themselves allies, I always try to remind them that they are guests in the gay community. They are guests in the LGBTQ community. Don't make problems for us that then later on we have to clean up, because you and Dylan Mulvaney both have enough money that you get to go back to your mansions, or if you want, you can fly off to another country. When it comes to trans people,
it has serious and grave consequences.
They are not looking for all these problems. Everyday trans people are dealing with, yes, the hatred that you inspire in the streets every day because you guys feel like it's cute to make a statement on a day that you know does not belong to the person that's thumbing their nose at an entire group of people that have already let it be known that they just want to continue to be what it is they are and not have anybody try to give them a prefix.
Cis women, cis girls.
Like cisgender, not have anybody try to tell them what it is they're supposed to accept. I mean, haven't women been told throughout history what it is they're supposed to accept and where it is their place is? So now women still have to take a back seat to men, even in the space of being a woman on International Women's Day. I don't know what anybody thinks they're helping with this, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.